that tornado watch. So we are not in the tornado watch in the metro. I didn't expect that we would be. I don't expect severe weather in the metro tonight. It's going to be in southern Iowa here, those southern two counties down into Missouri, and really all types of severe weather are possible. And I believe that Taylor is ready to go over at the wall and he can show you some more information. Taylor?
Hey, yeah, good evening, Brad, and good evening, everyone. Thanks so much. So yeah, you covered it. We have the one tornado warning in our viewing area right now, and that is in Adams County. Very slow moving. The initial reports with the confirmed tornado was very close to Corning. As Brad adjusts my shot, thank you very much. We had that was reported at about 6:16 earlier this evening, and then the latest update at 6:31 reported the tornado was still on the ground near Lake Ikaria, which is just north of Corning. So the storm very slow moving. The latest update from the National Weather Service saying moving eastward at 15 miles per hour. Those of you in Creston that are probably concerned about this storm, you are not in the tornado warning right now. This storm might be kind of the type of storm that cycles, so it puts down a tornado, maybe lifts, gets its act together, takes a breath, and then puts down another tornado. So here's a closer look on the Doppler radar. Again, Creston, you are not in the warning at this time. I would say Prescott is the town of concern more so than anyone else, and of course Corning, yeah, the area of rotation circled right there. So Prescott in Adams County, that's going to be the primary area of concern right now as the storm drifts to the east. If it holds together, though, there might be a new warning that is issued for parts of Union County, and that may very well include Creston because you're not that far away. Thankfully, it is a slow-moving storm for your sake, so maybe it will fall apart by the time it gets to Union County and Creston, but that is certainly something we'll be keeping a close eye on.
Yeah, we haven't seen any reports of damage yet, so I'm keeping an eye on that as it moves on into, it's moving very slowly. We're only talking like 15 miles per hour, so it's going to take a while to move out of this area. That warning might have to be extended, in fact, in that area of Adams County, so we'll keep a close eye on that. Taylor, are you seeing anything as far as damage? It looks like there's been no reports of damage. No photos have been sent in of this yet, but it continues to be on the ground. Last check, but that was about 8 minutes ago.
Yeah, not seeing anything on from the National Weather Service or on Twitter or anything like that. It is a rural part of Iowa, and you know, oftentimes we have storm chasers that will be out and about keeping an eye on these storms, but the bigger tornado threat today was in Kansas and southeast Nebraska more so than Iowa, so there probably aren't too many chasers here locally keeping an eye on this storm, although they might be heading that way. So we'll let you know if we hear anything visually. It was an emergency manager of Adams County that was the one that saw the tornado initially in around Corning at around 6:16, and that was when the storm looked at its healthiest, when it had that best signature of the hook echo there. It's kind of recycled, as I mentioned, so there is still a little bit of modest rotation right around Prescott as the storm very slowly drifts to the east. So at last check, there was visualization of a tornado near Lake Ikaria at 6:31 just about 9 minutes ago. Haven't had an update since then. And
let's go ahead and go through those rules while you're looking at that. Everybody in this area take shelter, of course. Go to the basement or the lowest part of your home. The center is good, away from the windows. Of course, if you live in Iowa, you probably know all this, but it's good to pass it along in these times of emergency. Stay away from windows. Cover yourself if you can in these areas. And again, we're talking about the area around Prescott and east of Prescott, probably just north of Highway 34 in Adams County. Go to the lowest floor possible. Seek shelter in interior stairwells. Under the stairs is a good place. It is definitely a tornado that's been on the ground for several minutes. So the longer it's on the ground typically tells us how strong it is. Weak tornadoes usually don't last very long on the ground. So the longer it's on the ground, the more likely that it is going to be a stronger tornado. So we want everyone to stay safe in Adams County as we go through the evening hours here. Let's go back to the radar here again. And one of the issues we're having, and I might switch over to the Omaha radar because it's in between radars right now, so it's harder to see the rotation. It's harder to see where the severe signature is with this storm, but it's definitely, we can just tell by the nature of the thunderstorm, it is definitely moving through the east of Prescott right now. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here so we can get a better idea. as it continues to slowly move east and is headed generally toward the area of the Stringtown area. I don't know if that's a city or just an area or a crossroads, but that area is maybe just north of Stringtown is where we're going to see the possible tornado, or the signature of that tornado is right there. So that's where we're watching right now. Let me clear that screen off for you, get a better look.
National Weather Service says that they will allow this warning to expire at 6:45, barring any additional reports.
Did it lift back up, apparently?
They're saying that on radar it appears to be weakening that area of rotation. So hopefully that trend continues for us.
Yes.
Like we mentioned, it could recycle, redevelop as it approaches Creston. So please keep a close eye on this if you live in Creston. But for the time being, it does appear to be weakening a little bit.
And what's going to happen, we know this, that other thunderstorms are stealing its thunder, basically. The energy in the atmosphere is limited, and there are thunderstorms developing to the south. So there's a wind flow issue here. It still could recycle, but I think as time goes on, the tornado threat will probably diminish. I'm kind of surprised. Well, we have a watch in our area, but I think it's really more for Missouri is where the tornadoes are more likely. As we go through the evening, I think Iowa is not going to have a high risk for tornadoes, but this particular cell, I've been watching it for a while, and it had a nice little hook echo, and I was telling Samantha about it, that I was watching it carefully, and it did produce a tornado, and apparently in a couple of minutes it's going to expire. So we're going to stay on just a couple more minutes and we'll get you back to your programming, but Taylor, it hopefully will continue to weaken.
Yeah, and just to kind of reiterate what you said, all the storms in eastern Nebraska and northern Missouri are very clustered. That storm in Adams County is isolated, so it has a little bit more of a capability to survive and be tornadic, as opposed to this mess down here in northwest Missouri and southeast Nebraska. When they're kind of jumbled like that, it's not as conducive for tornadoes. I know we have warnings there right now, but as time goes on, it might kind of turn into more of a heavy rain event, perhaps severe wind, and some large hail as well. That's probably going to be our main concern moving forward.
These are the cells right here that I'd be worried about, because they're getting that free that free inflow area, and that's where they're going to develop. Ours are going to just become rain wrapped and basically have a lot of heavy rain. So as I said in the news, we could see some areas with 4 or 5 inches of rain before it's all said and done, because it's all coming in. So believe it or not, we're going to go from a drought to maybe flash flooding, at least in southern Iowa. I don't think the heavy rain is going to make it into Des Moines tonight, but you never know. So we'll keep a close eye on it. And we're just about done with that warning. Let me check. Have you seen anything else that would cause you to stay on, Taylor?
Nope. In fact, the warning has just been expired by the National Weather Service.
All right. So that's good news. We will go back to programming, everyone, and we'll continue to monitor it very closely. We'll tag team it here at Local 5. If anything severe should come into our viewing area, you'll be the first to know. Stay with Local 5 for the latest weather information.